نحن نقص عليك أحسن القصص.
Hajra drinks the water, she produces milk and feeds her child. And she is content that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not abandoned her. In her heart, she feels a sense of peace and contentment that the God who has made this happen will indeed and surely look after her. There were people around the area of Makkah traveling, but they knew that that area had no water. But to their amazement, they saw birds traveling in a certain direction. And they thought to themselves that these birds only fly in the direction of water. They sent a few of their people to go and inquire. When their messengers came, they found Hajra sitting next to a well of water. They went back and informed their clans and the travelers. They came to Lady Hajra and they said, "Do you allow us to settle in your vicinity?" She said, "On the proviso that you will not own the water, but the water will be my belonging." They agreed. This then became a village and people began to settle there. They exceedingly respected Lady Hajra and young Prophet Ismail as he grew up. They bestowed upon them lavishly, and Hazrat Ismail learned to speak Arabic from these clans. Now here there is certain discrepancy as to the dream that Hazrat Ibrahim had, as to whether this dream was after Ismail had grown much older and Hajra had died, or whether this dream was whilst Hazrat Ismail was still in his childhood and his mother was still alive. According to the second, Hazrat Ibrahim felt a sense of loneliness and wished to see his son. So he traveled to Makkah to be with Ismail and Hajra. He began to see dreams that he was slaughtering Hazrat Ismail. After seeing these dreams, he was disturbed and felt that it was the command of Allah. The question that arises here is that why would Ibrahim have such a dream? Why would anybody dream that they are putting their own children to death? The obvious answer is that that was a practice of the people at that time. And they saw no sin in such practices. And Hazrat Ismail and Hazrat Ibrahim were living in that context. So it was but natural that Ibrahim dreams of things that are current in his own culture and in his own context. Hazrat Ibrahim says to his son Ismail, and it is recorded in the Quran, "I see myself slaughtering you." Now Ismail, also being endowed with the divine light, he immediately says to his father, "If'al ma tu'mar." Perform what you're commanded to do. "Satajiduni insha'Allah min as-sabirin." You will find me, by the grace of God, amongst those who bear with patience. So Ismail also understood that this was a command that Ibrahim had received. Now here is another question, that why would God command a blessed prophet of his at such a ripe old age to slaughter an innocent child who too was amongst the chosen creatures of God? The answer is simple, that it wasn't God who was commanding Ibrahim directly. It was actually Ibrahim's love for Ismail that had prevailed upon his soul and upon his heart, and that had become somewhat of a distraction for Hazrat Ibrahim and a veil between Ibrahim and his God, that Ibrahim's own soul suggested to Ibrahim in his own context that offer this child in the way of God so that there is no distraction between you and your beloved, so that all impediments and obstacles are removed. For God can never command anything that is unbefitting, unjust. In any case, when Ismail consents for Ibrahim to execute the order of God, Ibrahim takes Ismail, وَلَمَّا بَلَغَ السَّعِي, and when they reach that point, and Ibrahim put Ismail upon his forehead or upon the side of his face, we find this being mentioned in certain narrations, that an old man approached Ibrahim and he said, "What do you intend to do with this child?" He said, "I wish to slaughter him for the sake of God." He said, "How can God command such a thing? It must be the demon that is commanding you these things." Ibrahim threw stones at the shaitan. Shaitan appeared to him on 3 occasions. On all 3 occasions, Ibrahim threw stones with the name of God and chased him away. This is the symbolic stoning of the devil that we offer at the major pilgrimage, as we run between Safa and Marwa 7 times as a gesture of respect for the act of Bibi Hajra. In any case, we are told that this shaitan in the form of a man went to Hajra and he said, "I saw an old man who has taken a young child and he's about to slaughter him." Hajra also threw stones at the shaitan and chased him away. But being a mother, her heart was filled with suspicion and anguish. So she ran in the direction where she felt Ibrahim was with Ismail. We are told that Ismail requested Ibrahim to tie his hands so that he should not move, and as a result of which Ibrahim should not be deterred from slaughtering him. We are also told that Ismail asked his old father to blindfold himself, lest the sight of his child and the knife and the oozing blood should cause Ibrahim to falter in his resolve. Ibrahim put Ismail to the ground, and in the name of God, he slit his neck. He sat there, not knowing how the anguish of losing his only child would feel in the cause of God. He removed the blindfold, and he saw at that point that Ismail was sitting there smiling, and in his place a ram was slaughtered, and Jibreel was sitting there looking at Ibrahim. And the Quran says, "O Ibrahim, indeed you have made your dream come true, and indeed we have ransomed your child, and in its place we have given a mighty sacrifice." What we understand here is that Ibrahim's own intuitions were leading him to remove the impediment that he found between himself and his God. But it was Allah who intervened and saved the human life. Allah never commands us to kill an innocent soul without any sin. Allah is the giver of life. And then we are also told that human sacrifice from that point onwards was prohibited within the Sharias that came subsequently.